Hello and welcome. Before we begin, I'd like you to take a deep, soft breath in and then slowly, gently let it out. Again, a little deeper this time, in through your nose and out through your mouth. Easy, slow, unhurried. You're in a quiet place now. Let the day fall away. There's nothing you need to do right now except listen and let your breath guide you. In and out. The air is cool and comforting. If you listen closely, you might hear the faint rustle of leaves outside your window. Perhaps the distant hoot of an owl perched in the shadows of a tree. Or maybe, just maybe, your ears are already filling with the gentle crackle of a hearth. The sound of a fire burning low, curling around itself in soft amber waves. As your eyes grow heavier, let them close. Let them rest and let your mind wander to a time long ago. Our story tonight begins in a cobbled village tucked among mossy hills and dew-laced meadows. It is the year 1374. The sun has long since dipped behind the forest edge, and the sky is brushed with stars. There is a hush in the streets now, a peace that only comes after the last candle has been snuffed, and all but one of the village hearths have gone to sleep. Only one window glows, softly, warmly, a golden flicker behind frosted glass. It belongs to the baker. His name is Thomlin, an old man now, with flour-dusted lashes and hands shaped like dough firm, soft, and gentle. He's been baking in this village since before the first stone of the chapel was laid. And every night at precisely the same hour, he flips the hourglass. It sits upon the edge of a wooden shelf near the window, a tall glass, thin in the center, filled with fine ivory sand that falls like whispers. You can hear it if the room is quiet enough, a soft, silken sound, like the brushing of linen across the floor. She lets go inside. The bakery is dimly lit, its walls aged with years of cinnamon-scented mornings and yeasty afternoons. A heavy oaken table stretches across the middle of the room, grooved with the years of kneading, cutting, slicing, flouring. A cat sleeps on a flour sack near the corner. Its ears twitch from time to time, but it does not wake. You can smell the rye in the air, warm and deep. That nutty, old-world scent that lingers in the beams, in the cloths, and Thomlin's very skin. He moves slowly now, not from age, but from reverence. He lights one more taper by the wall, the flame dancing on the copper bowl that holds sprigs of rosemary and crushed clove. They used to believe the clove kept away illness. He doesn't know if that's true, but he likes the scent. It's sharp and sweet and grounding. Outside, the wind passes through the alley like a whispered song. But inside, the grains begin to fall. Do you hear it? That's the hourglass. Thomlin's close, eyes closed, listening as if to an old friend. He flips it just once. A single practice motion, and when the sand begins to slip again, he smiles. This hourglass is older than the oven, older than the stone floor. It was given to him by his grandmother, who was given it by her grandmother, and on, so far back, no one remembers the first loaf it timed. Back then, you see, they didn't have clocks in bakeries. They had candles and bells and sand. And this one always tells the truth. It doesn't just tell when the bread will rise, or when the coals burn just hot enough. It tells when to begin, when to breathe, when to listen. So tonight, Thomlin listens. He leans on the table as the sand falls. He lets the quiet fill him, a deep breath in and a slow breath out. The embers in the oven are just beginning to glow. Soon, he will begin the kneading, but not yet, not until the sand says so. The village sleeps, but the bakery breathes. It breathes in rhythms of history. Of nights like this, where all is still and even the shadows seem soft, let the story linger in your thoughts. Let the sound of falling sand drift into your dreams. And as Thomlin closes his eyes for a moment longer, you may close yours too. Just for a while, the bread can wait. Sleep comes first. The hourglass whispers on, grain after grain, falling like a lullaby into a velvet silence. Each speck of sand holds a memory, a recipe from long ago, a secret passed between flour-dusted fingers, a name once whispered between lovers over a crust of fresh bread. Thomlin stands still as the sand drips down, not because he is tired, but because stillness is part of the ritual. A time to remember, to feel the wooden floor beneath his boots and the breath of the oven as it stirs to life. Outside the stone walls, the village remains asleep. A candle gutters in a distant window, a shutter creaks gently in the breeze. But inside the bakery, all is warm and hushed and full of waiting. Thonglin hums barely. Just a thread of melody, an old tune, something from a time before chimneys were tall, before the castle had its second gate. The melody matches the rhythm of the falling sand, soft and steady, like the beating of a sleepy heart. Dum dot 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 dot. He lifts the cloth linen, worn thin at the edges, and reveals the bowl of sourdough starter. It bubbles quietly, like a living thing. And it is, in many ways. In medieval times, they called it the mother, the dough that gave life to other doughs. A sacred, living culture carried from home to home, town to town, even across oceans, tucked into handkerchiefs and pots. This starter is over 50 years old, and Thomlin feeds it like a pet, water, flour, and time. He smiles at it now, as if greeting an old friend. There's something comforting in rituals this old. Movements so well practiced, they come from the hands, not the mind. He dips his hands into a small bowl of warm water, washing the day away, then scoops flour from a sack marked with a faded crest, a wheat sheaf and crescent moon. The Guild of Night Bakers, it once read. Not many remember it now, but Thomlin does. And so does the hourglass. He pours the flour in gentle circles. Not too fast, not too slow. The sound of it sifting into the bowl is like soft snow on a winter window. Fufch. Outside, the wind rustles the ivy that clings to the bakery wall. A breeze passes through a tiny crack near the ceiling, carrying with it the scent of damp earth and something faintly sweet, maybe lavender, maybe rain. He stirs the dough slowly, gently, folding and pressing, pressing and folding, over and over again, the same way his grandmother taught him. In the medieval kitchen, this would have been done by candlelight, or by the faint flicker of a rushlight, a simple strip of dried reed dipped in animal fat, burning for just a little while. Enough time to knead a single loaf. Rushlights were short-lived, but the bread lingered. Soft crusts, warm middles, steam rising like morning mist from the fields. Thomlin kneads in rhythm with the hourglass. The sand has almost run out now. Just a few more grains, falling, each one a step closer to the oven song. Breathe in and breathe out. Imagine the smell. Warm rye, hints of clove and barley, the sweetness of fermentation and the comfort of brown crust. That ancient scent that has drifted through windows for hundreds of years. Soothing, grounding, eternal. And as you breathe, let your body soften. Let your shoulders grow heavy. Let your toes sink into the mattress like flour into dough. Even the stars seem quieter now. In a tiny village long ago, a baker is alone with his thoughts and his dough and his hourglass. A simple life. A sacred rhythm. No rush, no urgency. Only the soft beat of the world. Measured in falling sand and rising bread. The last grain of sand settles. And so begins the next breath of the night. Thomlin doesn't rush. He never has. He simply wipes his hands on a soft cloth and lifts the heavy wooden lid of the proofing box. It creaks quietly, a sound like old trees bending in the wind, gentle, weathered, kind. Inside the box, the dough will rest, covered by another linen cloth. one stitched long ago with a threadbare pattern of stars and flourishes. He sets it down like a child in bed, tucks the cloth around the edges, and hums again, just a whisper of a tune, the same one his mother used to sing when the shutters closed for stormy nights. The room feels warmer now, not because of the oven, but because of the rhythm of quiet, of purpose, of peace. And now, with the dough at rest, Thomlin does what he always does next. He sits by the window. Outside, the street is still. The moon reflects on the cobblestones like a path of soft silver. A cat moves along the ledge across the way, its eyes catching the light, glowing for a moment before melting back into shadow. He watches in silence, the way only someone who's done this for decades can, and then he leans forward, reaches up, and slowly, lovingly flips the hourglass once more. The second turn, not for timing, not for work. This turn is for dreaming. Because Thomlin believes, has always believed, that the second flow of sand doesn't mark minutes, it marks memories. Each grain carries a moment from long ago or yet to come, a kiss behind the herb stall, the sound of laughter over apple tarts, the scent of rosemary clinging to his sleeves. And so he watches the sand and drifts. Sometimes, if the night is especially quiet, he sees them. His grandmother braiding dough into loops that looked like sun rays. His younger self sneaking honey from the jar behind the flour sacks. A parade of yesterdays, falling grain by grain into the now. And you, dear listener, you may watch with him. Let your thoughts become soft. Let the flickering glow of the candle beside you guide your breathing, in and out. You are sitting across from Thomlin now, in a chair that creaks just a little, wrapped in a wool shawl that smells faintly of time and old books. You sip something warm, maybe cider, maybe milk warmed with nutmeg, and just a whisper of honey. The hourglass stands between you, and the sand keeps falling. And for a moment, there is no present, no past, just this room, this warmth, this dream. You close your eyes just for a heartbeat, and suddenly you're outside. In the alley behind the bakery, where the ivy vines sleep pressed against stone. The wind curls around your ankles like a cat, cool and playful and barely there. You hear it now softly, the distant bells of the monastery across the field. One toll, then silence, then another. Slow, spaced, patient. It is the hour of the dreamer. The time between dusk and dawn, when the world breathes in and holds it, and maybe, just maybe, you begin to feel yourself drifting too, with every grain of sand, with every warm breath of oven air, with every soft scrape of the baker's stool on the stone floor. Even time is sleepy here. Even memory grows drowsy. You let your shoulders drop a little further, your jaw loosen, your eyes fall heavy and kind. You're not quite asleep, but you are closer. Like flour before it's dough, like coals before they glow. You are becoming still. And in the quiet, the baker closes his eyes too. The hour grows deeper. Thomlin rests in his chair by the window, the sand whispering beside him, the dough rising slowly under linen in the quiet belly of the proofing box. Everything is still. There is no tick of a clock here, only the slow hush of falling grains, the creak of wood when it settles, and the sleepy breath of a bakery caught between yesterday and tomorrow. From where you sit, wrapped in shawl and silence, you begin to notice the details. The way the candlelight paints golden strokes on the stone wall, the tiny bubbles on the dough's surface, like stars waiting to be born. The faint marks on the table old knife scratches, faded rings from pots placed long ago and forgotten. It feels timeless. A place untouched by worry. A place where the world moves only when you let it. And Thomlin, he lets the world move slowly. He always has. He watches the sand fall as if it were snow, gently, steadily. each grain softening the surface below, one tiny whisper at a time, in and out. Let your breath match that rhythm. Let your thoughts settle one by one, like flour dust drifting to a tabletop. No rush, no pressure, only the gravity of calm. Thomlin begins to hum again. Not a song with words, just a tune, simple, sleepy, a melody shaped by memory more than intention. He thinks of his father, who sang this same tune when fixing the shutters in winter, of the woman who once sold gooseberries at the market and whistled it as she stacked her jars, of a time when he was small enough to sleep in the flower bin, and no one ever minded. He hums for them and for you, and for the hourglass, which knows all his songs. You watch him rise from the chair, move quietly across the room, each step careful and cushioned, as if not to wake the bread. He checks the coals, not with a thermometer, but with his hand held near the brick face of the oven. It is a trick passed down through generations. Feeling heat with the body, reading the oven like a heartbeat, just warm enough now, not too hot, not too low, perfect. He opens the proofing box with reverence, like a priest revealing a relic, and gently, oh, so gently, he touches the dough. It springs back, slowly, soft, ready. He smiles, not a wide smile, but a quiet one, the kind that belongs in places like this. And he begins shaping the dough, not with haste, not with fuss, just a soft folding of hands, a slight push, a tug at the bottom, the motion of a lullaby in bread form. The dough rests on a floured board, its surface dusted like snow on the rooftops. He carves 3 small lines across the top, a symbol only he knows. He's done it every night for years. And then it goes into the oven. The stone door closes with a deep, comforting thud, the kind of sound that makes you feel safe, that seals the warmth in, that says, you may rest now. Back at the table, the hourglass nears its end again, but Thomlin doesn't flip it, not yet. He returns to his chair, a mug of warm cider in his hand, and he looks to you. Yes, you. As if to say, you're welcome here. You belong in this stillness, in this hush, in this hour where nothing needs fixing, nothing needs doing, nothing presses against your thoughts. Let that knowing settle in you. Let your spine soften. Let your fingers unfurl. Let your breathing grow slower, slower. Like the last few grains of sand, you and Thomlin sit in silence now, companions of the quiet. Somewhere outside, the rooster stirs. But it is not morning yet. There is still time to drift, to breathe, to sleep. The bread is not yet done. The world is not yet ready. But you are ready to rest. The scent begins to rise now. From the belly of the old stone oven, a quiet exhale of warmth curls into the air. It carries with it the rich perfume of crust forming, of yeast transforming, of flour becoming bread. A scent so old it feels like memory, like comfort passed through time. Thomlin tilts his head and inhales, eyes closed, breath slow, and you follow his lead. Breathe in and out. The aroma is soft and nutty. Hints of toasted barley, a touch of smoke, a trace of earth from the millstone that ground the flour days ago. Outside, the stars stretch across the sky like spilled salt, dusting the heavens above the village roofs. A single breeze tiptoes past the bakery window, and for a moment it carries the smell of nearby hay. Dew damp and sweet. All around you now, a feeling of safety, like being wrapped in a thick wool blanket, like hearing a lullaby hummed through the walls of a stone house. You lean back in your seat, letting the warmth of the room soak into your skin, feeling your breath grow heavier, slower, softer. Thomlin stands once more. He doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. He moves across the room with purpose, yet never haste. Each motion carved from practice, from decades of nights just like this. He opens a drawer and removes a small brass bell. It fits perfectly in his hand. its surface worn smooth by years of polishing, by hands that love routine, that find peace in repetition. The bell does not ring loudly. When he chimes it, it sounds like a sigh made of silver. A single clean note that seems to pause in the air before falling into silence. He does this not to wake anyone, but to honor the bread, to mark the hour with something beautiful. In medieval times, bells were used for more than calling prayers. They were rung to drive away storms, to guide travelers home, to mark births and endings, and everything in between. This bell, it tells the bread, you are almost ready. It tells the oven, thank you. And it tells you, dear listener, you are safe. Outside, the village remains asleep, but a few candles begin to flicker in far-off windows. Another baker, perhaps, a shepherd preparing to lead their flock, a mother lighting a taper to warm milk for a sleepy child. But Thomlin's world is still. The only sound now, the faint crackle from the oven, the whisper of air moving over the stones, and the last sigh of the hourglass. For yes, the sand has nearly run its course again. Not that it matters, not really. Time, in this room, moves in spirals like the rise of steam, like the rhythm of breath. In and out, your shoulders feel heavier now, and that's good. That's what they're meant to do when sleep is near. Let them fall. Let them settle like flour on a wooden countertop. Let your thoughts do the same, softly, gently, without effort. Thomlin watches the oven now, kneeling quietly, peering through a tiny iron vent. Inside, the crust has bloomed, golden and dappled, rising like a story reaching its final page. He places a hand on the stone face of the oven, not to test its heat, but to thank it. He does this every night. It's a small gesture, a quiet gratitude. For in Thomlin's world, everything has soul, even the tools, even the heat, even the silence, especially the silence. The bakery glows like a lantern in the dark, and your eyelids, dear listener, grow heavier still. The bread is ready, not by the clock, not by a timer, but by feel, by scent, by instinct passed through centuries of fingertips. Thomlin lifts the long-handled peel, its wood polished smooth where his hands have held it 1,000 times. He opens the oven door, and a wave of heat spills out, not harsh, but gentle, like stepping into sunlight after a long winter. The glow inside is golden, not fire, not flames, just embers now, breathing quietly. And there, resting in the heart of the heat, is the loaf. Cradled in stone, its crust cracked in perfect, sleepy ridges. It breathes steam from its middle like a living thing. Thomlin slides it out slowly. No rush. Never rush. The peel moves smoothly beneath the loaf, and with a practiced lift, he brings it to rest on the counter. The sound it makes as it lands, tap, thunk, hiss, is ancient. That soft hiss, that whisper of cooling crust, is older than language. You hear it now. You feel it, like a lullaby for the soul. You are not in a story anymore. You are inside it, beside the bread, breathing in the warm curl of crust and crumb, the oven's sigh, the baker's stillness. You close your eyes, just for a moment, and now you are in another time. Still in the same village, still in the same bakery, but younger. The walls are freshly whitewashed, the tools newer, the bread smaller, the hourglass shining, untouched by soot. And there, kneeling by the fire, is a younger Thomlin. Or perhaps it's not Thomlin at all. Perhaps it's his mother or his grandmother, a woman with strong hands and soft humming lips, wearing an apron smudged with flour and a crown of white hair. She's baking, and a boy watches from the doorway. Maybe it's you, maybe not. The lines blur in dream space, and that's perfectly okay. She flips the hourglass. She hums a tune. The same tune, always the same. Hush now, little one, she whispers. The bread will rise when it's ready. And in those words, a truth so simple, it quiets the entire room. You don't need to rush. You don't need to rise too fast. You just need to rest. The image fades gently, as dreams do, and you're back in Thomlin's bakery, present, warm, safe. The loaf is cooling now, wrapped in a cloth with embroidered wheat stitched long ago. Thomlin carries it to the windowsill, where the breeze can kiss its surface. Not too much. Just enough. He does this every night. Not because anyone will eat the bread tonight, but because it must be made. It wants to be made. The act itself is sacred. And somewhere in the village, someone will wake before dawn and follow the scent to the door, and the bread will be waiting. Waiting like the hourglass, which has now emptied again. A third time. And this time, Thomlin does not flip it. Not yet. This hour is for silence, for memory, for drifting between what is real and what is dream. The fire crackles once, then stills. The cat shifts in its sleep, tail curling tighter, and you are almost entirely asleep now, drifting, floating, held in a cradle of candlelight, steam, and the heartbeat of bread. Your limbs are heavy. Your thoughts are few. Your breath is slow and kind. Let yourself stay here. Let this be your hourglass, in and out. Time does not matter. Only warmth, only rest. Only this moment. The hour is late now, or perhaps it's early. The kind of hour with no number, where the sky forgets its color, and the stars yawn slowly, one by one, before folding into morning's arms. Inside the bakery, time is curled into itself, slipped beneath the floorboards, tucked into the folds of cooling linen. Thomlin does not speak. You do not need him to. His silence is a language. It says, you're safe here. It says, everything is okay now. It says, let go. He moves quietly across the stone floor, gathering up his tools, placing the peel back on its hook, brushing crumbs into a small wooden bin, smoothing the cloth on the work table with the care one gives to tucking in a child. You watch with soft, half-lidded eyes. Not because you need to, but because it feels good to see someone move without hurry. There's peace and purpose. There is sleep and repetition. And now he does something different. He walks to a narrow shelf you hadn't noticed before. On it sit 3 small objects. A candle shaped like a coiled spiral, a wooden spoon darkened by decades of use, and a leather-bound book, its cover cracked at the edges, its spine softened by many hands. He opens the book slowly. Pages whisper, paper rustles like wings. There's no ink, only pressed herbs tied with thread, laurel, chamomile, wheat stalks, a clove wrapped in ribbon, each page a memory, each plan a mate. Thomlin doesn't read. He simply turns a few pages, lets his fingers brush across the dried leaves, and closes the book again. The meaning is unspoken, but you feel it, don't you? A story doesn't need words to be remembered. The room is dimmer now. The fire a nest of glowing embers, low and gentle. The hourglass empty, resting, the cat still curled. Dreaming of fields, perhaps, or birds that never land. And you're so near sleep. You've walked through the flower-dusted halls of memory. You've sat beside warmth. You've watched the rise of bread and the fall of time. Now there's only stillness. The final part of the ritual. Thomlin flips the hourglass one last time, but not for bread. Not for memory, not even for dreams. This turn is for rest. For the deep velvet kind of sleep that lives beneath the layers of breath. The kind that mends, that holds, that heals. The sand falls slower now, or maybe you're just drifting faster. Either way, the result is the same. You're slipping softly, gently, into the dream space between night and day. And Thomlin, he watches for just a moment, then turns toward his own cot in the far corner of the room. No mattress, just straw and a heavy wool blanket. but he lies down with the grace of a king. Because here, in this quiet kingdom of ovens and flour and soft song, he is a king. He closes his eyes, his hands still dusted in flour, his heart still warm. You do too. And the hourglass continues, marking not time, but peace. The story is still being told, even as sleep wraps around you, even as the world hushes to a whisper, let go now. Let everything go. Let the stillness deepen. Outside the bakery, the stars hold their breath. Not one has blinked out yet. They linger soft silver threads sewn across a velvet sky, content to wait just a little longer before letting morning tuck them into hiding. The village still sleeps. The wind no longer rustles the ivy. Even the leaves have stopped their tiny conversations. All is still. Only the faintest golden halo hums behind the window panes, the last of the fire's glow, the memory of bread. And the hourglass, it continues to flow, grain by grain, softly, softly, softly. Each grain is a lullaby, each one a quiet footstep across a wooden floor, each one a memory made of scent and breath and steam. In the far corner of the bakery, Thomlin lies in his straw cot, blanket pulled to his chin, boots neatly lined beside him, hat hung by the hook above. He does not move. He breathes in and out. And you, nestled in your own bed, mirror that rhythm. You are no longer a visitor in the bakery. You are part of it, a gentle soul among the warm stones and flower-laced beams. Maybe you're the bread, rising slowly. Maybe you're the ember, glowing low. Maybe you're the sand, falling patiently with the hourglass. Or maybe you're simply resting, wrapped in a story that knows your name. There is no need to choose, no need to hold on, only to drift. You can smell the memory of bread. It curls through the room like a ghost made of cinnamon and wheat. And you welcome it. Let it wrap around your dreams, filling the spaces between your thoughts. With golden crust and soft butter. Even the shadows have gone to sleep now. They have curled beneath the tables and chairs, folded themselves between the bricks and beams, and let the hush take them too. This silence is sacred. A silence that holds, not emptiness, but everything. The weight of time, the softness of memory, the hum of life resting between heartbeats. And you, dear one, are exactly where you should be. Not in a hurry. Not in the storm, not chasing anything, just here, resting with Thomlin, listening to the hush, held by the hourglass. Let yourself go heavier now, sink into your bed like dough into proofing linen. Let your fingers uncurl, let your breath deepen, as if you too are waiting to rise, but not yet, not quite yet. Let the stillness do its work. Even your thoughts have grown drowsy. They drift now, like flour in low light, floating, turning, settling. There's nothing to solve, nothing to finish, only softness, only story. Only the final grains of this hourglass falling, marking the space between wakefulness and dreams. And somewhere far off, perhaps in another village, perhaps in a time long faded, another baker flips another hourglass, and the rhythm begins again. In the hush before dreams, a door opens, but it doesn't creak, it doesn't clang. It simply exists, softly swinging inward, revealing something not quite memory, not quite imagination, but safe. You step through, or maybe you float. There's no need for feet here, no need for gravity, only warmth, only story. You are no longer in Thomlin's bakery, or rather, you're in the idea of it. The dream version. The version remembered by flour and wood, not by time. Here the hourglass is 10 feet tall, and it glows. Its sand falls not just in ivory grains, but in tiny lights, stars, perhaps. Each grain a whisper, each whisper a dream. The scent in the air is impossibly soothing. It's not just bread anymore. It's honey, and lavender, and something like old parchment wrapped in roseberry. The smell of something ancient and kind and you begin to move, not with legs, but with breath. You drift from room to room in the dream bakery, through doors that weren't there before, through stone arches that hum softly, like a song remembered in childhood. One room is filled with shelves of ancient flowers, each sack labeled with a date, some centuries old, some from kingdoms that no longer exist. But they smell fresh, they pulse with memory. Another room holds nothing but spoons, wooden, iron, bone-handled and silver-plated, spoons carved with suns and moons. Each one hums when you touch it, not loudly, just a little. Like a note plucked from a harp strung with threads of light. There's no fear here, no worry, no need to understand, only to feel, to float, to rest. You find a room of candles, hundreds of them, all shaped like loaves. Their flames flicker in rhythm with the hourglass outside, which continues to fall. And in the center of that room, a single chair, carved with ivy, softly rocking back and forth. You sit, or maybe you already sat, it doesn't matter. The chair accepts you, holds you, lulls you. It rocks not to lull you to sleep, but to remind you that you are already drifting, already rising like dough in quiet warmth. Your breath is long and low now, like a bell ringing beneath water, like a lullaby sung in the language of leaves. Nothing can reach you here except peace, and even that comes gently, like steam across a window pane, like parchment curling under a flickering flame. You look down, in your hands is a loaf of bread, warm, perfect, impossibly light. You press it to your chest, and it beats, just once, a pulse of comfort, of grounding, of home, and you realize you are the hourglass, you are the dough, you are the breath of the oven, the hush of the hearth, the night between stars, and none of it needs to make sense. It only needs to be safe, and it is. There is a kind of sleep that doesn't feel like sleeping at all. It feels like floating, drifting through candlelight and soft ash, through golden clouds of flowers suspended in sunlight, where gravity forgets you and time says, not yet. You're there now, in the space between thoughts, between the falling grain, and the next, the loaf you held as vanished, not lost. Just given, returned to the warmth that made it. And now, your hands are empty, and that emptiness feels good, light, unburdened. The chair still rocks beneath you, slower now, back and forth, back and forth. With each motion, your body softens more. Your breath doesn't even try to deepen, it simply does, as if your ribs have learned the rhythm of rest all on their own. You glance around and realize the candles in this room are not just shaped like loaves. Some flicker with the faces of memory, smiles from long ago, hands that once baked beside you, laughter you forgot you remembered. They do not speak, but they glow. And you glow too. You are not watching the story anymore. You're a part of it. You've always been here, haven't you? In the hush of the bakery, in the last breath of the fire, in the emptying hourglass. Somewhere nearby, someone stirs in his cot. He doesn't wake. Not truly, but he feels it, that sense that something is complete. That peace has arrived, not as a guest, but as a returning friend. He smiles in his sleep, and the cat, still nestled beside the flour sacks, lifts its head, looks at you, and blinks slowly. That blink, a gesture older than fire, older than bread. It says, you're safe now. Outside, the sky begins to change, but not quickly, not boldly. Just a hint, the softest blue nudging the black away. Dawn is still far, but it remembers its path, and so do you. You are on the softest path now, not a road, not a trail, but a feeling, a remembering, a return to something warm, to something old, to something that has always whispered your name. And the hourglass, it doesn't fall anymore. It hovers, still silent, because you are not counting minutes now. You're beyond them. You are where the story rests, where every thought has been kneaded into quiet, and where the dream begins to rise. Something stirs, but it does not wake you. It is the soft sound of morning's breath, a cool draft slipping beneath the door, the hush of dew settling on thatched rooftops, the first bird, not yet singing, but stretching its wings in silence. Inside the bakery, all remains dim. The fire has dwindled to ash, but the heat lingers, a cradle warmth, a memory warmth. You are still in the chair, or lying now, somewhere softer, perhaps on a bed of flower-scented linens, or in the nook beneath the window where sunbeams will soon curl through the glass. Donlin does not move, but his breathing has changed, deeper now, dreaming not of bread, but of fields, and wind, and the taste of blackberries picked warm from the bramble. In his dreams, he is young again, running through wheat stalks, laughing with flour on his cheeks. And you are everywhere. You are in the walls of this old place. You are the sand in the hourglass, the steam that curls upward, the soft hum that lives between sounds. You have become the rhythm. No longer separate, no longer a listener, but woven and stitched into the very linen that covers the proofing bowl. That is what the story wanted all along. To bring you in, to hold you, to remind you that you belong. And now you rest, truly. The dream no longer tells you where to go. You simply follow the warmth, follow the breath of the oven, the hush of slow footsteps, the lull of time unspooling gently. There's no need to return. Not yet. You're welcome to stay here. For as long as your breath stays soft, as long as your body stays still, as long as your thoughts drift like flour in afternoon light, you are resting in ritual and sacred quiet. In the story of all things warm and slow, let go now, even more. Let the last muscles in your face relax. Let your thoughts be no louder than a breadcrumb falling. Let the world around you become soft shapes and then nothing at all. This is the hush of old places, the peace of candlelight, the sleep found only after long stories and warm bread. The edges of the world begin to glow, but not brightly, not suddenly. This morning is quiet, shy, a brush gold that does not wake you, but watches you sleep. Outside, a pale light peeks between wooden slats, painting thin lines across the bakery's stone floor. Dust dances in it, soft and slow. Even the light is sleepy, and you, curled into yourself, are drifting deeper, not waking. Because true rest doesn't mean darkness, it means stillness. And you found it. The hourglass, now fully empty, rests on its side, not forgotten, just fulfilled. It has done its part, as have you. There's no more to do, no plot to follow, no conclusion to chase. Only the final breath of night and the first sigh of day mingling in the corners of the room. You are part of that sigh. The bakery seems to know you're still here. It shifts gently, settles more comfortably, like an old house welcoming a long-lost guest. Donlin dreams on. The cat does not stir. And the bread is gone now. Carried off in the arms of someone who needed it. Perhaps a shepherd. Perhaps a boy running errands for his mother. Perhaps no one at all. But it's okay, because there will be more. There is always more bread, always more sand to fall. Always another night like this. And so, you can let go even further now, beyond thought, beyond story. Sink into the warmth beneath your blanket or the softness of your pillow. Let your breath stretch long and low, in and out. You've wandered every quiet hallway, heard every crackle of wood, smelled the rise of every loaf, felt the pulse of every memory. You have been held not by hands, but by silence, by ritual, by rhythm, by the beautiful, ordinary miracle of sleep. And now you are no longer here. Not really. You are where dreams gather, where candle flames become stars, where flour becomes fog. There is no need to return yet. Let the stillness hold you. Let the hush deepen. Let the softest part of the story be the one you fall asleep to. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are resting in between, a place with no name, no time, just warmth and stillness. And something sacred. Here, the world is slower than slow. Grains of sand hang in the air before they fall. The shadows curve like ribbon. Even your heartbeat moves like honey, thick, slow, gentle. The walls of the bakery are no longer stone, they are stories. Pressed and folded like dough. Pages of light and memory, layered with flour and flame and silence. You lean your head against one, and it sighs, not in sadness, not in worry, but in welcome, because everything here breathes with you. Every brick knows your name. Every window has watched you sleep. Every spoon has stirred a dream just like this one, and you're safe. Wrapped in a stillness older than fire, older than castles, older than sleep itself. Maybe you hear a voice, not Domlin's, not yours, but something softer. A voice like rising steam. It says, there's nothing left to hold. And you don't hold. You let go. You let your shoulders melt into the mattress. You let your eyelids grow heavy. You let your chest rise and fall like dough beneath linen. The rhythm carries you, like a small boat on a warm tide. You don't know where you're going, and it doesn't matter. There's no destination, only drifting, only rest. You may see faces now, smiling, gentle faces of those who baked before you. Those who kept the hourglass turning long before Thonglin. A parade of bakers, a procession of dreamers, all watching over your sleep. They nod, not with urgency, but with knowing. Because they've all been here, in this hush, in this warmth, in this perfect pause. And they too are asleep, because this is not a place you visit. It's a place you remember, a home your soul never left. The dream folds in like warm dough, no sharp edges, no endings, just curves. Soft spirals of memory and meaning, all closing around you like a quilt of golden light. You do not need to wake, not yet, not for a while. Even the sun knows better than to rush this moment. Outside, a gentle blue washes the sky. But it waits, it listens, and inside, the bakery still breathes. The embers are cool now, but the stones hold the heat. They always do. That's the secret of old things. They remember warmth, and they give it back when you need it most. The flour sacks have settled. The linen cloths hang still. The scent of bread lingers in the grain of the wood, in the hush of the corners, in the breath you just took. Thomlin does not stir, but the faintest smile rests on his face, as if he too is part of your dream now. Or perhaps you were part of his all along. Does it matter? You've become the same. Both dreamers, both keepers of warmth, both servants to quiet. The hourglass, still on its side, catches a sliver of morning light. And for a brief, perfect moment, the grains inside glow like stardust. Not because of magic, not because of spells, but because of presence. Because the world is still enough to notice. And you notice. Even now, drifting as you are, breathing in the rhythm of sleep, you see the light catch the sand, and it feels right, like the story has found its breath again. Not to continue, but to rest, to settle, to cool, to be. And you follow. You let yourself soften just a little more, sink a little deeper. Forget even the rhythm, and simply become the rhythm. A hush in the linen, a breath in the flower, a dream curled on the cot. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to hear. Only a final turn of the hourglass remains, and even that is only a gesture, because time now is yours. Sleep now is complete. Now there is only stillness, no more rising, no more falling, just the quiet place between. The oven is cold now, but it does not mourn the heat. It knows warmth returns. That embers sleep, but never forget. The hourglass remains on its side. Its work is done, not in endings, but in rhythm. It has guided the hands, held the moments, marked the hush, and now it rests. So, do you? You are no longer the watcher of the story. You are the breath inside it, the soft exhale beneath the weight of the blanket, the final thought before the dream takes over completely. Tomlin's bakery fades now, not because it is gone, but because you've fully arrived in your own warmth, your own quiet. The scent of bread becomes the memory of sunlight. The creak of wood becomes the echo of your heartbeat. The hush becomes everything. You are deeply, gently asleep. And in this sleep, you are still being held by the hourglass, by Thomlin, by every grain of sand that whispered you here. You might return one day, flip the hourglass again, step through the doorway of scent and silence, listen to the fire crackle, feel the flour dust on your palms, but not tonight. Tonight you stay, here in softness, in stillness, in the cradle of old stone and fresh loaves and warm light. There's nothing more to hear, nothing more to feel, only the weight of rest settling gently upon you. And just before the dream becomes everything, the hourglass breathes one last time, not with words, not with sound, but with a knowing. You are safe. You are warm. You are home. Sleep now and let the hush carry you the rest of the way. The story has ended, but your dreaming has only just begun. Sweet dreams.